Hello YouTube, welcome to another random ladder game cast. This time around we have Dondaniel and Pilferer on the left. They are playing double greed, nice and safe there, and they are up against johnyc, the Fiesta God himself, and arsiQ, who is playing Cartel. Although having said that, the Fiesta God actually rolling with a Chaos Mastermind this time around, deciding to mix things up for whatever reason. Bit of a shame, I would have liked to see a johnyc Fiesta Masterclass, but unfortunately Chaos it is. He is getting rewarded with a snail though. In fact, both johnyc and arsiQ receiving the snails here from Don and Pilferer Wave 1. This will be an easy hold for them and a free 6 gold apiece. So arsiQ, Cartel, Sakura, I'm not loving the combination really, because you're going for like a really aggressive early game mastermind option, and you're playing the slowest opener in the game, apart from maybe an egg. But let's see how he can make that one work. I'm sure arsiQ has something planned to go with that. We have the Fire Elemental opener from the Don himself, and Pilferer with a classic Trinity Archer and Howler opener. Very, very solid stuff. All three players still have their rerolls available. Of course, the Chaos player does not, because he's just abusing free rolls every single wave. There's one more King upgrade here from the Don against johnyc, so relieving the pressure there. Although, having said that, I don't think johnyc can ever really go 6 workers here. As soon as I say that, he, of course, presses the button and goes to 6 workers. We'll have to see how that one pays off for him. More snails all around. The Don unable to send to johnyc this wave. So Johnny, who can add a slime here, is just getting away with murder, really. Pushing 6 workers with a nightmare is pretty nice, actually. Don is 6 workers himself, though, with the Fire Elemental. Very, very strong opener, of course, since the recent buffs. 2-shotting wave 3 makes the world of difference. He could even have gone 7 workers? No, he actually doesn't have enough gold for that. So we get the 20 send against Don, that's a free hold. The 40 against Pilferer. He should be fine as well. He's cleared up the left-hand side very quickly. Very high right-side split, actually, on Pilferer. He's pulling way too much to the right-hand side. And as a result, I mean, his Archer didn't tank as much as it needed to at the start of the wave, but it looks like he's just fine. He is, of course, 275 value against 2 snails. Alright, we get the DT resend here from Pilferer, arsiQ. I mean, he's going to be more than fine. He's very, very high value, actually, on the teal player. He's going to go all the way up to 420, even more, maybe. Wow, okay, 445 value here, wave 4 from arsiQ. So, I mean, of course, he's clearly unleakable here, but he really should be pushing the worker button a little bit more than ever. He will, of course, hold the 60 cent here from Pilferer, so at least a bit rewarded there, in that his Sakura will, of course, get the stacks. He won't leak any gold, etc. And let's see if he can push the button now. He's pressed it once, twice, 3 times a lady? Oh, he's got the gold. Does he press it? He does! arsiQ, what a beast! All the way up to 8 workers now. Very, very aggressive. So I will eat my own words. He's been playing pretty slowly so far this game, but now he's finally found the U key on his keyboard. Let's see if he can translate that into some sort of a lead. He's also saving some Mythium against the Don, who isn't looking great, honestly, on wave 6. He's got maybe options for a Yuzora. I don't know if he has the gold for it, actually. I think he might have to either sell something for a Yuzora or go with like a Butcher, which is really not ideal because he has no units to pair with his Butcher on wave 6. So maybe a little bit of foresight there to plan ahead, because wave 6 is a clear weakness of this build. johnyc leaking 50% to the Dino Snail there from Don. Pretty solid. His Sakura teammate, I think, is safe here. This has a lot of HP, 63% left over. Meanwhile, Pilferer leaking very, very small to the Brute from johnyc. So pretty good trade there, honestly, for left side team. Dondaniel and Pilferer happy with the way that one went. arsiQ now pulls the trigger on his Mythium. That is a safety mole for the Don to cope with on wave number 6. So Don, yep, as expected, he couldn't quite afford that Yuzora. In fact, he was really close. I think he's yeah, he's 5 gold shy, actually, of being able to afford the Azora. Now, double fire elemental is a lot of damage, but the mole is such a good counter to those units. We'll have to see if he's able to kill much of anything here. Meanwhile, Pilferer gets an 80 send and johnyc a 60 re. Both of those players should be fine. It's only income against the pair. Now, this is some pretty juicy tanking here. This fire elemental, will it survive against the left? No, it won't. It dies too quickly. That was so close, actually. If it could have killed one more. But no, this is a pretty bad leak here. 93% from the Don. And it's a case of he didn't have really any units for this wave. He would have had to do some sort of crazy shift to place maybe a Lord or a Shadow Dancer or something like that to have a chance of holding here. The Mole just so strong against everything he has on the board. Now, as a result, there is first blood going against the side of Dondaniel and Pilferer. It's not too much king damage. They only go down to 93%, but it is blood on the sands. Alright, johnyc, meanwhile, 10 workers, with arsiQ again falling behind only on 8 there for the Cartel player. Now remember, Cartel does have that wave 11 downside, minus 36 income, of course. So johnyc and arsiQ, they're actually hoping not just to trade evenly throughout the early game. As you can see, Jules' win chance percentage up at the top here saying 50-50. The game needs to be in favour of johnyc and arsiQ before around wave 10, wave 11, because as soon as that happens and arsiQ loses his 36 income, they're going to be starting to fall behind, so they do need to generate enough of a lead in the early game to make that aggressive mastermind worthwhile. Now, Don does get another 80 resend here. He did full push after wave 6, and he is, I think it's a full hold. Yeah, he's fully holding. Okay, this is pretty nice for the Don. So a bit of a recovery, actually. arsiQ giving Dondaniel a decent bit of breathing room, actually. He was struggling after that wave 6, but the 80 resend just removes all pressure from Don. He's doing pretty well now. He's up to 10 workers, matching johnyc. And, I mean, he's looking kind of fine. The problem is, his build on wave 9 looks a bit rough, and his build on wave 10 looks pretty terrible as well. So maybe, I mean, he's used his reroll actually already. I see that now. He's gotten rid of both of his cheap units actually on Don. So he no longer has a tier 1. He doesn't even have the Aqua anymore. His cheapest unit is that Pilgrim on 135 gold. It can be a bit clunky to have such an expensive unit as your cheapest. It's kind of difficult to manipulate aggro with raising splits and things like this. But he has got a very, very nice late game role, so we'll have to see if that pays off for him. He has got options like Nightmare Butcher, Shadow Dancer, and the Egg as well, obviously one of the best, if not the best tank in the late game. So Don, bit of a risky strategy there, going for such a high-ended role, but we'll see if he can make it work. We've got some pretty big sends all around here on wave 9. We've got the Mole Hermit Brute from Pilferer, and Don is going with a Mole and I assume a Hermit to go with that as well. No, just going for the Dino, that's fine. Actually, no AoE on johnyc, so that makes sense. johnyc is very strong here, actually. He has Green Devil, he has Lost Chieftain. That's basically infinite tank value, and even decent damage as well with the Chieftain. So we'll see. I think johnyc should be fine, but the 300 send against arsiQ is really dangerous. I mean, this guy's super weak here on wave 9. Nearly everything he has is a ranged unit, and a bunch of that is Pierce as well. So wave 9, very, very tanky against everything on arsiQ's board. And it looks like, yeah, this is going to be a pretty big leak here from the Teal Cartel player. And remember, guys, Cartel, wave 11 upcoming. He's going to struggle as soon as we transition into that mid-game phase. 76% here from arsiQ. johnyc, of course, did hold, and probably is able to cover as well, actually, at least a decent chunk of that. He's got a lot of value alive in the mid. He was very strong this wave and had a ton of value as well. 1140 value there for johnyc. So yeah, we see him comfortably covering for his teammates' leak as well. But I don't hate the fact that Don went for a Mole send here as well in an attempt to get a leak on both players, especially with Pilferer sending 300 Mythium there on wave 9. Okay, we do get a resend on 10 from both the Don and Pilferer. Let's see, johnyc, I mean, he's very low value here. I think this should be a pretty decent leak, actually, for johnyc. Meanwhile, arsiQ, I mean, he's not expecting the resend. He hasn't built anything here. He's going in, okay, he's added one small mask. I'll change my mind. He's added a mask. But, I mean, he was already weak on 9. He's very weak on 10 as well. Basically, didn't build anything. Okay, the Lizard is doing nothing, so that helps. but I do expect this to be a leak for arsiQ for sure. Let's have a quick look at johnyc. It looks like another leak as well. Is Nightmare still alive? It does do good damage here. Can the units distract it long enough? 62% there for arsiQ. It's close, but no. johnyc does clear his boss. Dondaniel, meanwhile, leaking no send. We did understand that his build was very weak on 10 with the double fire elemental, with the Oathbreakers, so that's kind of to be expected. No fault there from the Don. And a decent chunk of king damage as well. johnyc, he was able to hold his own lane, but not able to cover very much of his teammate's leak in the mid. Right, now we see Dondaniel resending, just trying to snowball his income. He does place a full chieftain here, so would be pretty strong had there been a resend on, well, sorry, a send on wave 11 from johnyc and arsiQ. But these guys are going for a little bit of cringe. We see double Pulverizer actually from johnyc and arsiQ. I mean, very, very strong buff spell. The Don actually feeling very pressured here. He takes all-out assault and piles it all into king upgrades. So obviously expecting a big send on wave 11, but there's no send coming. And now with all of this Mythium resent into johnyc, expect to see this guy pushing pretty hard here on wave 11, and maybe just going straight 13, where both Don and Pilferer look kind of vulnerable actually. Pilferer did not send his Mythium though, so arsiQ unable to push, and we really see this cartel downside starting to sting here for arsiQ. We were talking about him needing to be ahead in the early game. Just look at this income now. He's on 71 income. Half anyone else on the game. In fact, Dondaniel has 3 times, more than 3 times the income of arsiQ. That's kind of crazy, honestly. It's very rare that you see triple the income of another player. Don is just going for some more king upgrades here, so wanting to have that king boosted for when the send does come. I'm pretty confident that it will be a 13 send from johnyc and arsiQ. We'll have to see though, and yeah, as expected, johnyc, after receiving that send on wave 11, he full pushes. He's gone all the way up to 20 workers now, so his Mythium generation is looking very, very strong indeed. arsiQ, I mean, he's not able to push because Pilferer did not send on wave 11, so he has to feel a little bit cautious, especially when he's playing with 71 income, folks. He's really going to fall behind. This send is very all in now here on wave 13. If they don't get huge leaks on the side of the Don and the Pilferer, this is going to be very, very bad news for johnyc and arsiQ. So fingers crossed for any johnyc fans in the chat. You want to see some serious damage dealt here against the Don and Pilferer on wave 13. And actually, Pilferer, interestingly, goes for a full send here with an Ogre and a Hermit, hoping to get a big leak on arsiQ, rather than going for Income King and playing to survive. And looking at arsiQ's build rate, I mean, it's going to work. He's really low value. Most of his units are not fantastic on 13, although we have seen Pulverize Azerius pull out miracles from time to time, so arsiQ really hoping that he gets one of those today. And actually, Pilferer going for king upgrades post-income. So he goes for the full send with the Ogre Hermit, but then takes the king attack. And I don't hate that play. I really don't hate that play, because this is so all-in here from johnyc and arsiQ that all Dondaniel and Pilferer need to do, really, is survive this send, and they're just really, really far ahead. Now, it looks like the Pilferer is going for 106% leak, and the Don, I mean, he's actually doing pretty well here. Another heal from the Pilgrim doesn't make too much difference. It's 81%, but the percentage looks more dangerous than it is. And actually, we have a game pause there. Dondaniel perhaps having enough of the game here, unfortunately, because I think he's actually in a really good position. They don't die here. There's no way they die here. And arsiQ is just so far behind. I think Don and Pilferer are in a pretty good spot, honestly. I don't love the rage quit here. We'll have to see if Pilferer and the Don bot are able to close this one out. Alright, Dondaniel, johnyc on fire, 75 gold. Again, I mean, I take it I was wrong. I said the Don and Pilferer are way ahead. But johnyc now with that 289 income, 24 workers. Remember, he was able to push really hard from that wave 11 send. He's on fire. But we can see as well arsiQ pretty low down on the power score. Pilferer joining him down there now, actually, so that's interesting. I would have loved the Don to stick around so that we could see the ending of this game. I mean, we might as well finish it out now that we've got all the way to wave 14. But it would have been nice to see if Don and Pilferer could come back into this one. I really don't think their position was that bad that we needed to leave the game. Alright, everyone chilling with their Mythium for now. How is the bot going to build here? It's not going to push. The bot is adding an Arc Tear and an Oathbreaker. Not terrible, actually. Covering that wave 16 pretty well. Don bot looking pretty strong wave 16. With all of that Swift Armor, with the Lifesteal Doppel. I mean, they've got options. Pilferer is not bad 16 either, with all of these Howlers. With the Trinity Archers on the APS, with the Hades. These guys might be trying to play for a wave 16 skip into a big 17 send against johnyc and arsiQ. johnyc's shutdown is growing though, so he's pulling further ahead, but I have to think that at least part of that is the fact that he's playing against a bot now. Alright, we do get full sends actually from all players, so Pilferer sends here. We'll have to see if Donbot is able to send before income or if it skips. It does go before. And there's a Needless Snail there from Donbot. It's not terrible. Let's see if johnyc goes for the Harden here. He's actually building against wave 17, I think. He's prepping those masks here. They're not bad on wave 16, even though they're not tantrums, to be fair. So we'll have to see if he hardens as well, or if johnyc just really expects the send to come on 17. arsiQ does expect the send here, so he is hardening. He also has 3 or 4 tantrum masks as well. johnyc still not hardening. This could be dangerous for the side. The sends are very, very big though against Dondaniel and Pilferer. There's 560 against Don. There's 800 against Pilferer. Those workers that johnyc pushed on wave 11 a long time ago, remember, he's been so far pushed. Really paying off for him here, and as a result, Pilferer is getting crushed. That's 115% leak. arsiQ does leak 103%, and johnyc, I think he's going to leak as well. But meanwhile, Dondaniel bot, it looks like he's just holding, or it's close. Yeah, Dondaniel bot is holding. Okay. Does this keep them in the game? It's 46% HP, fully upgraded king. It's close. But johnyc held as well. That's kind of sad. So they won't take much damage on the right side. On the left, do they survive here? One more spell? No! The game is over. johnyc and arsiQ are victorious. But this game was pretty close. I think if we had Dondaniel the human rather than Dondaniel the bot, this could have been a different outcome.